up, climbing 5 spots on this list, is Wizard 101, moving from number 12 to number 7. This is another kids.
Who? We're losing to this? What? Oh, there's a video I wanted to watch. Are you guys ready for this? We watch this video every like 6 months to a year when it comes out to see how Black Desert Online is actually doing with regard to the other MMOs.
2022.
Here we go. Here we go. By the way, I watched like the first part of this because I wanted to see where Lost Ark was doing, because Lost Ark usually competes with BDO. It's down by 16 places. Just spoiler alert. It's a little rough. It's a little rough.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's Lucky here, and it's that time
Most played MMOs 2025. Lock in.
of the year where we look at the MMO genre and go over the most played MMOs right now. A lot has changed since
Where do you guys think BDO is going to be? Do you think it's going to be up or down comparatively to last year? Where do you guys think we're sitting? And how far down do you think that we're at? You know what I mean? And how far down in places do you think we're going to be compared to last?
since I last made
Last year, I think we were like 4th or 5th.
this video.
Maybe we were, I think we were like 5th.
We've seen some MMOs move way up on the list, and we've seen some move way down. This video is strictly by the numbers, which means I'm not ranking them by quality, simply by active player base size.
Yeah, so he looks at the active player base and he like that's
Which MMOs are dying and which ones are thriving? Let's find out. First up at number 17 is Albion Online.
Okay, so Albion's a little rough. Albion's got it a little oh shit, bro.
Released in 2017
Down
and
by 6 places is a little rocky.
currently
Okay,
available
6
on
is
PC,
fucking
Mac, iOS, and
perfect.
Android. Albion Online has fallen to number 17 on this list, moving down 6 spots, partly because I've included some new MMOs this time around, and partly because
Okay.
it has seen a drop in its population since its peak.
Oh,
Albion
yeah.
Online is
It
not
has.
for the faint of heart. It's a full loot PvP MMO. This game
What
does
the
allow you to pay for power. The silver lining is that because it is full loot, that means you can let someone else pay to win and then kill them and take.
Here's the real question. Do you guys believe that Black Desert will be above Throne and Liberty? So many people think that BDO has more players than TnL, and then there are other people that think that TnL has more players than BDO. Personally, I think that TnL is going to have more players than BDO. As of the making of this video, he made this video a month ago. So if you look at the average player base a month ago, so if you look at the Steam charts, it's deceptive because BDO also has a client side. So like only like half their players are on Steam. So if there's only 15,000 average players for BDO, that means there's like, 30,000 total roughly, right, playing. And almost all of TnL's base is represented in the Steam numbers though. So like they have like 30 to 35, but their console base is not represented in the Steam numbers, right? So, and they have a pretty large console following. So they have at least 10 or 15,000 more people that are playing on console as well. So like I personally think that Throne of Liberty has more players than BDO does overall currently.
Take their gear. Fortunately, if
We'll
you
see what he
lose a
says.
full loot PvP fight, it's not too terribly difficult to recover from. Most players are running around with gear that's worth only about 1% of their net worth. Once you've been looted by an enemy, you can buy replacement gear with a click of a single button. The game features a pretty massive progression tree where the more you use something, the more you level it up and unlock things down that branch of the tree. Albion Online does not require a mandatory sub. However, it does offer an optional sub that will greatly reduce the grind towards max level. The game has attracted a niche audience, helping it make it onto this list.
A lot of people
if you're
wanted me
looking
to
for
try
something
this.
different and high stakes
I was like, I
that
don't
feels
know.
like a MOBA and an MMO merged
If these guys sponsored me, I'd play
into
it.
one beautiful creature, Albion Online might be a great choice for you. Falling further than any other MMO on this list is Lost Ark.
And that's why I had looked at it. I was like, there's no way. Like I clicked on it because I was going to move I was like grabbing the link and I saw I was like, bro, why is Lost Ark the second one in the video? Oh, bro, as bad as you might think BDO is doing, at least we're not them. Holy shit. Bro, down by 10 places. Oh, never mind. Our devs are great. Our devs are fine. I don't know. I say he keeps doing a great job, honestly.
Dropping 10 places
Oh my
all the
God.
way down to number 16. Lost Ark was falling before Throne and Liberty came out, and I think the audience overlap with Throne and Liberty just accelerated that downtrend.
Does anyone else feel like Lost Ark doesn't really overlap with Throne and Liberty very much? I think that is wrong. Like, respectfully to Lucky Ghost, I don't think that Lost Ark has almost any PvP against Throne and Liberty, and is an action combat system, which you can't even, it's not even comparable. The combat in Lost Ark is like cajillion times better, right? Throne and Liberty is a PvP, large-scale PvP, particularly focused game, right? And it's not a sandbox. It's not a, neither is Lost Ark, but like it's not a sandbox like that. Also, Lost Ark has raids and Throne and Liberty doesn't. I don't think that's really a fair comparison at all. But like, I think that Lost Ark is down probably because the look, I don't know anything about Lost Ark, so this is me just speculating. But I think that the only reason that Lost Ark would be down this many places is if the developers of Lost Ark, who are, what company develops Lost Ark? Lost Ark. Smilegate? Okay, so the only reason Lost Ark is down 10 places is because Smilegate has mismanaged the game in some way and the players are unhappy. That's what I think. That's like, because the only game that can kill Lost Ark is Lost Ark. It's a good game.
Lost Ark is a free-to-play, top-down MMORPG that launched in the East in 2019 and then finally here in the West in 2022. Lost Ark is Diablo meets Final Fantasy meets a Las Vegas casino. It has a cash shop and gear progression system that'll frequently remind you of its Eastern MMO roots. The game
I'm thinking about starting a Lost Ark series, maybe playing alongside Stoops or some shit.
is absolutely pay to win, or if you prefer, you can call
It's
it
like a
pay
new
for
player.
power, but to its credit, it's also one of the few major MMOs that you can choose to play for completely free. And I'm not talking about those MMOs where you can try it for free. You can legitimately access and play the entire game for free.
There's nothing to do in the game. They just released the new class and and once you do the possible raids, now there's literally nothing to do. Oh, is that the problem?
Free if you have the patience and the determination
Well,
to put
even still, it should still be up and down as they release raids. It'll spike really hard, and then everybody does them, and it goes down, and it comes back up again. But to be down 10 places, I think, speaks to more mismanagement than that.
push through the monetization of this game. The ultimate goal of Lost Ark is to sell around the world, collect all the things, and increase your
Also, the girls in this game are f***ing hot, bro.
character's power. The sailing is a lot of fun, especially early on when you first access it. The weaknesses of Lost Ark are the pay-to-win monetization and the rampant botting. One of Lost Ark's biggest strengths is its combat, as a lot of players will tell you that the combat is
Case in point.
extremely satisfying. On top of that, the game has a wide variety of classes with more on the way, each with their own look and feel to make sure anyone can find the right class for them. If we look at Lost Ark's trends, we can see that interest in Lost Ark exploded in February of 2022, but then quickly lost players as time went on.
Damn, bro, they're down bad. Holy shit. I didn't realize it was that bad. What the hell is going on in Lost Ark? Oh my god, they're almost lower than we are. What the? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna stop complaining. I'm gonna be a good boy. I'm gonna be a good boy. I'm not gonna complain anymore. BDO is awesome. Throne and Liberty is awesome. Everyone is doing everything perfectly.
Dropping one spot to number 15 is EVE Online, which continues
Eve's actually doing pretty well then. Yeah, look at the uptick in Eve, guys. Look at that. Eve's actually doing pretty solid, bro.
to fall down the list. Released all the way back in 2003, but still being actively supported by its developers.
True. Eve Online has more players than Lost Ark. That's the year we're living in, guys. Oh god. Oh my god.
And its fans.
But
EVE Online is available
so
on PC,
gross.
Linux, and Mac OS. Now, is the game just getting old, or is having the most expensive sub in the
I think
genre
people
at
like it.
$20 per month starting to catch up with it? EVE Online is an MMO where your goal is to build and upgrade a powerful spaceship so that you can join up with others to vie for control of the most profitable sectors of space. It's
Oh, the blue line was Albion? Okay,
free
never
to
mind.
play with the option to spend money to do things like access more of your spaceship sooner. It also has an optional sub, and as mentioned, this sub is the most expensive subscription on the entire list today, sitting at
I don't know, man. The value pack's pretty close.
$20 a month. As with most optional subs, fans of the game will tell you that if you fully intend to enjoy the game, the sub isn't so optional. PvP in EVE Online is high stakes, as when your ship is
Sound familiar? Just like BDO, man. Perlibus manages EVE Online. If you guys don't know, they own it. They own it.
destroyed, it does not simply respawn. Nope, you're gonna have to rebuild it again. The many hours, days,
I
and
think they've done a solid job.
months worth of
From
material
as an outsider perspective, the EVE community seems happy.
that you put into that ship are now gone, but its fans and its developers have kept it on this list for over 2 decades, so there's definitely something special about it. Next up, we have Lord of the Rings Online, moving up 3 places to
I'm so sorry. I'm gonna make fun of it, but every single MMO that is above Lost Ark is crazy, bro. They're losing to Lord of the Rings Online. As bad as we thought we had it, guys, I'm telling you. Okay, so Eve was the yellow line, and they're actually doing pretty well, like I said. But Lord of the Rings actually kind of upticking right now.
number 14, partly because it's seen an increase in interest, and partly because other MMOs on this list have fallen so far.
True. All the Lost Ark players are like, this shit, man. I'm going back to Minecraft Lord of the Rings, bro.
It was released in 2007, and then in 2010, it went from being a subscription-based MMO to a free-to-play one. Lord of the Rings Online is a classic theme park MMO. It's got a respectable Lord of the Rings-inspired story with some really solid voice acting. Like many of the free-
I'm sure it's a solid game overall if you can get into it, kind of like WoW Classic. But damn, bro, the graphics are dated.
Play MMOs, it's not massively popular, but it's alive enough to enjoy it. It's worth noting that in order to have access to all of the races and all of the classes, you'll have to spend some money. You can also choose to sub for $15 a month in order to get things like extra inventory space or extra quests. If you want a fun little trip down nostalgia lane and a classic MMO experience that you can enjoy without spending a dime, maybe try Lord of the Rings Online. Next up, sitting at number 13, is the oldest MMO we'll talk about.
Oh my God, is anyone else? I'm like taking a deep breath every time. I'm like, oh, okay, it's not. Oh, okay.
Today,
Because I'm like, not BDO, not Throne of Liberty, not BDO, not Throne of Liberty. Like, I'm just, whew. We're better than EverQuest. We're good.
it launched all
Not Lost Ark though.
the way back in 1999, and that's EverQuest. EverQuest has moved up 3 places on this list
before
thanks
we
to some
didn't
other
even make the
MMOs
movie.
falling down so far. EverQuest has a small but respectable population. Before WoW, when no one else knew what an MMO was, there was EverQuest. This game has the classic MMO formula because it invented a lot of it. EverQuest can be punishing. Dying can mean you have to go back and pick up your corpse to get your gear back. Pulling an extra mob can spell your death. EverQuest is still getting expansions today, which is
Oh my God.
gear back. Pulling an extra mob can spell your death.
Corporate wants you to tell us the difference between these 2 pictures.
EverQuest is still getting expansions today, which is why it's still sitting here at number 13 on the list. Now for the next one, I really expected
Oh my God! Throne's got less players than BDO. It's dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's trash. Holy shit! It's a mobile game. Holy shit! It's a mobile game. Yikes!
Throne of Liberty to do better than this.
What happened?
This is a brand new MMO from a massive AAA company, 12 years in development, sitting all the way down here at
There's so many BDO players. I can already hear them in my comment section. Oh yeah, that mobile game. Oh God.
number 12. It's difficult to put into words how poorly this MMO has performed relative to the effort that was put into
I
it.
already hear the YouTube comments.
But I saw this coming a mile away. It's a PvP-centric MMO with very little PvE. Combined,
Yeah, for what it's worth, I do think that Throne is a very niche MMO for a niche player base. BDO hits a wider player base because it's a sandbox, right? So although BDO doesn't really encompass PvP players anymore, it does a great job of like pulling in PvE versus life skillers versus people that want to adventure, barter, sailing, that kind of thing. There's like a lot of stuff you can do in BDO. In Throne, there's really only one thing to do, and that's PvP. And that's just it. You know what I mean? And to be clear, it does that really well. But that's a very targeted player base.
that with the fact that it's got massive pay-to-win
All of that to say, it's still beating Lost Ark. I think we can all just high five over that. That's crazy, bro.
and you have the recipe for a quick cash grab, not a long-lasting, thriving MMO. For example, the in-game auction house, where you buy...
Throne has shit combat. Well, in fairness, they're fixing that. So with Wilds of Talandre, I actually think that it will fix that problem for a lot of players, because they're fixing like the targeting. Like those, like a lot of people find tab target, a lot of people are okay with. Tab target with a clinky target system, people are not okay with that. And that's the problem with Throne. And they have addressed all of the bullet points and are fixing it this month, or March of this year. So we're in March now, yeah.
Buy your weapons.
So that's good. And I think that as long as they actually deliver on that, I do think that Throne is taking steps to be, or steps in the right direction, for sure. And they also listen to their player base a lot. So, you know, yeah, it's number 12 on the list, but, you know, Wilds of Talandre is about to come out. And so we'll see it spike again. And I think that it'll retain more of those players. But we'll see next time. You think I'm wrong? I think it'll be higher on this list than number 12 next time. You can clip it. You can ship it. But I do think that it'll be higher than number 12 next time. Mainly because, again, I think it'll retain more players. I do. Wilds will come out. People will come back to the game. And they'll be like, oh, the targeting feels a lot better now. And there's, like, other stuff to do, right? But I don't know. We'll see.
And armor from other players literally uses cash shop currency. There's only one way for this cash shop currency to get into the game. That's for another player, likely a whale, to buy it with cash from NC.
Is that true? Lucid can be... I'm trying to think if that's true. I think technically the castle requires people on that server to use the marketplace, and it's like the taxes, you know what I mean? So I think that's actually true. I think that's true. But here's the thing. I understand he's harping on the cash shop here. In some ways, Throne of Liberty can be perceived as more pay to win than BDO. And you look at this by, like, you feel much more incentivized to spend Lucent to acquire gear in Throne of Liberty. It's not even a question. I play both the games very actively. Or, well, I did play Throne very actively back when, you know, before I hit the end game and had nothing to do. But in BDO, is that the difference, though, the reason why you can make a case that Throne is less pay to win than BDO is because a free-to-play player doesn't ever have to spend a dime. You can have every battle pass, every skin, every amatoy, every single thing you want in the game without spending a dime. In BDO, if you want a value pack, you have to spend money. That's just the truth.
Soft. This means that normal players have to play the game like a job to try and keep up with the 30-second credit card swipes of the whales.
That's actually kind of true. Like, playing the game like a job is true. Keeping up with the credit card swipes, maybe not as much.
I really wanted Throne of Liberty to be a good game. I did, but when they unveiled the monetization of this game, I lost all interest. And tragically, it looks like so did everyone else.
Oh, chill, bro. That's so disingenuous. I want to be clear. This is pretty disingenuous. Because let's be honest, after every single MMO release, there's a huge... Bro, what are we talking about? If I go to Lost Ark, all... Look at it. It's the same graph off. And then if you go to, let's see, New World. I don't know, New World is kind of dead, but same graph. If you look at BDO, it's the same graph. Although BDO's Steam was different. The Steam release was different than the release in the West. It's like it released in the West a year before it released on Steam, so the graph looks a little different, but still. Okay. So, like, every MMO has a bunch of players when it starts. It's where it kind of finishes that matters, right?
As it sits here at number 12.
It's like, if you look at this for BDO as well, it's the same graph. BDO releases, downward spiral until it stabilizes at, you know, 20K or whatever.
On the list as a brand new MMO with its population only shrinking by the day. Here's hoping they can fix the monetization and turn it around someday. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks. Now let's get back.
He was harsh on Throne, bro. He went in. Holy shit.
Next up, climbing 2 slots to number 11 is Star Wars The Old Republic.
Oh my god! Throne of Liberty is losing to Star Wars The Old Republic? Help! Oh my god!
Republic. This is another one where the population isn't growing. The other MMOs around it just did so bad that it went up 2 spots.
That's even worse. That's God, he's so savage, dude. He's so savage. God, dude.
Although it did see a nice bump in its population at the beginning of 2025. Now, BioWare has handed off this MMO to a new developer to keep it up and running as they move on to new projects. Typically, this doesn't bode well for the future of an MMO, but time will tell.
All right, I played so much SWTOR when it first came out, dude. I loved running around. I was a Jedi, bro, badass. Then I realized all the bounty hunters were way better than the Jedi in like every way, and I quit. Also, the system sucked. But God, I had a lot of fun playing that game.
This is another MMO that is now free to play with an optional sub. That optional sub will unlock a lot of things, but most importantly, it'll give you access to every zone in the game forever, even if you only sub for 1 month and then cancel. Veterans of the game.
This was technically my very first MMO that I ever played, by the way. Technically the first one, and I loved it. I did. Until I didn't.
Game will tell you that if you actually want to experience SWTOR, that's exactly what you'll need to do.
Are we going top 10?
Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Wait, how many were on the list? Hold on, we're at 849.
Quality simply by active playable on PC.
All right, there were 17. So being top 10 is not good, guys. Being top 10 is not good. Okay? Being top 10 is cooked. All right?
Forever, even if you only
we want to be in the top half. That's where you want to be.
1 month and then cancel. Veterans of the game will tell you that if you actually want to experience SWTOR, that's exactly what you'll need to do. Star Wars: The Old Republic is most known for its amazing class stories that immerse you in the Star Wars world, which are fully voice acted and are incredibly well fleshed out and written. Perhaps the most unique part of these stories is that your choices actually have an impact on the ending of your story.
That's true, though. When I played SWTOR, I actually... Like, you have to interact with the NPCs in a way that, like, I want this person to like me. I don't want this person to like me. That kind of thing. That is so true. And then when I started playing BDO, I was like, damn, this story sucks. And I was not wrong.
Story with up to 3
different interactions with the NPCs it's like night and day.
Endings possible for each class. This is definitely one of the coolest parts about SWTOR. It's not a bad game to pick up and play with a friend, as it does feature level scaling, which has resulted in the questing experience being very, very easy. So you'd definitely be jumping into it for the story rather than the
Bro, we run SWTOR with better graphics and BDO combat system. BDO who?
Challenge. The population has been sliding over.
I'm just kidding. Like, let's be honest. BDO also has best-in-class life skills, so he's got to have the life skills too.
The years, albeit slowly, but now that the developer has given the game away, its future has never been more uncertain. Now for the top 10 most played MMOs of 2025.
Here we go.
Falling to the 10th place from the number 4th slot is MapleStory.
Fuck you. That's right. That's right. Beating MapleStory.
Some of the recent headlines for this game may be catching up with it. Apparently, MapleStory was lying to its players about drop rates for items they were spending real money to gamble for.
I don't know how you continue playing the game when the company openly admitted to lying to you to get your money. For those of you that don't know, Nexon made it so that if you spent more money on the game, the RNG rolly boxes actually had a lower chance of giving you the rare item that you wanted out of it, because they knew that you would spend more money to get it. But if you spent less money on the game, like over time, you actually had more of a chance to get the big items. That way it would convince you that it was doable and you would swipe more money. That's got to be illegal. It was illegal. They got fined like $13 million. Billion-dollar company. Multi-billion-dollar company. Slap on the wrist. They got fined like some pathetic amount of money and then kept right on their merry way. Actually just insane. Literal pocket change compared to what they made off of it.
Developer was ultimately fined $9 million, but seeing as this is a drop in the bucket compared to what they made off of those microtransactions, this was likely more of a signal for them to repeat this behavior than to avoid it. MapleStory launched in 2003 in the East, and then
I should have just picked my nose. I should have literally just gone up into my navel cavity.
In 2005 in the West, it has been immensely successful and still manages to stay relevant nearly 2 decades later. So far, the game has reached over 260 million registered users worldwide and grossed over $3 billion in lifetime revenue. To put that into perspective, there's only one MMO.
$3 billion in lifetime revenue is crazy.
That beats that, and that's World of Warcraft.
It's made almost as much money as WoW, and it sits here on the list.
over 40 different classes for you to try and offers an incredibly unique and accessible experience. This is because it runs on a toaster and it's got 2 decades worth of content, so there's plenty to do. How do the charts look? Well, it's a long way from its early 2000s peak, but it's still doing well enough to stay in the top 10. Next up, we have Black Desert Online, released
number 9. You know what? We're down by 4. We're down by 4, by the way, and Lost Ark tanked, by the way. Lost Ark tanked, like, and we're still down by 4. Like, oh, Jesus.
Released in 2015, falling.
You know what, though? We're still better than Eve. We're better than SWOTOR, and we're better than Throne of Liberty.
4 places from the last.
God damn it, bro. I can't believe TnL's that low on the list.
Time I made this list, Black Desert Online is known for its beautiful graphics and flashy combat. It's an open world game with very little in the way of instance combat. You don't play BDO for dungeons and raids, you play BDO to kill things in the open world, often for hours just to gain a few % of a level. It's very much a grindy game, and it's important to note that this is an always on PvP game. Once you hit.
No. Do you guys feel that PvP is always on? I don't feel that PvP is always on.
50, the PvP is on for the most part.
Only on Arsha, that's right. Only on Arsha, baby.
Or anyone can kill you at any.
The PvP is on Arsha. The PvP is always on Arsha. Honestly, a better way to say it.
Why mobile? He count BDO mobile.
This isn't BDO mobile.
Anytime. This doesn't mean they will, but it's definitely one of the unique qualities about the game that makes it pop.
Wait, did he include the BDO mobile population too?
It's on PvP game. Once you hit 50, the PvP is on. For the most part, anyone can kill you at any time. This doesn't mean they will, but it's definitely one of the unique qualities.
Oh my God, he included the mobile population too. Oh my God! Okay, this is even better. Because all of those loser cucks, everybody that plays Throne of Liberty right now, and it's like, I guarantee you right now, it's like, and now who plays the mobile game? You complete morons. Like, dude, that's crazy. That's insane. Holy shit. Android. Oh my God. Take away the mobile users. I guarantee you we move down to where probably TnL is. So now we still don't know which one has higher players. Fuck! Because he included the mobile users. How many mobile players do you think play BDO? That's a good question. Probably a decent amount. It makes up at least like 15% of the revenue. No, in their quarterly earnings report, you said 0. Okay, buddy, chill. In Asia, a lot. Exactly. In their quarterly earnings report, the mobile by itself was like 15 or 20. It was more than console was for like a good amount, right? You can check the Twitch viewership of TnL. Let me check the Twitch viewership of BDO mobile, you moron. Do you know why the Twitch viewership of Black Desert Online is high? It's because we have drops, dipshit. Do you think that this number would be this high if there weren't unique drops going on, or it drops all the time in our category? Stop. Stop coping. This, I can't believe he included BDO mobile. That's a little cooked. That's a little cooked. Including the BDO mobile population is crazy. So like, we actually don't know where it actually rests on the list, but we know that it is number 9, including mobile. It's probably somewhere around 11 to 12 if you don't include mobile.
Qualities about the game that.
What is this? Oh, here's the quarterly earnings report. Okay, so how much is mobile actually? Yeah, mobile is 20% of their earnings, by the way. 20% of their earnings. It doesn't translate directly into players because more people on mobile spend more money than on PC, I think. Like, if you look at like how much an individual player has spent on mobile, it's probably higher than an individual on PC. Probably. Right? Because you probably spend more on your mobile games than you do on PC games in a lot of cases. So like, it probably doesn't represent 20% of their players. It's probably a smaller percentage of that. But even still, you take off 10% of our players on this list, we drop 4 places. We drop 3 places probably, right? So it's tough to tell where BDO actually is on this list.
That makes it popular among PvPers. BDO has earned...
It says about 250k players daily. What? Where? Where does it say that? It does not say that anywhere. It does not have 250,000 players on mobile. That would be more than PC almost. I think worldwide, BDO can't have more than about 200,000 players at any given point.
Earned some pretty negative associations here in the West, thanks to its previous publisher making the game overly pay to win, with some pretty heavy-handed monetization on top of that. But since then, the developer parted ways with that publisher, and the game has undone a lot of those less popular aspects of its monetization, making it possibly worth looking into again if you haven't recently. BDO features a ton of unique classes and continues to actively update the game. But how is the population of the game trending as of late? The population is definitely trending down since its last expansion, as most
Okay, yeah. We're on the way down. It's just not as... Look at the red line. That's Maple's story. Blue is Throne of Liberty. Honestly, BDO's got a steeper drop-off than TnL does. How the f*** is that possible? Look at BDO a year ago. Tro. This is weird. What the f happened a year ago? In December of 2024, there were way more players than that. What the hell is this graph? Five years ago, estimated daily player 250,000. Based on what graphics? Where are they pulling the number from? And this is 5 years ago, by the way. And they discontinued it in China because there weren't enough players. So, again, this is completely irrelevant. Should be 2023. Now, I mean, December 2024, I feel like we had a much stronger player base than that. It's based on Google searches. This is based on Google searches? Yeah, this is the Land of the Morning... Well, Land of the Morning Light Bump's actually... Oh, that's right there? It's right there. That's the Land of the Morning Light Bump. So, yeah, that makes sense. Actually true. Actually true. True. Land of the Morning Light Bump right here. Yeah, Yep. Big. And then we've been... Land of the Morning Light was 2023, right? The first one or the second one? Again, our expansion... When did our expansion release this year? Oh my god, I don't even remember. When did Land of the Morning Light Part 2 release? October? Right? So this is the Land of the Morning Light Part 2. Right? Because like October... November, and then like December. And oh, I guess this is the ball. Right? This is the Calpheon ball. So that's the Cal ball. And then it's been a slope down since the Cal ball.
MMOs do, but they seem to have largely...
It's only 2 months. It's March, buddy. So it goes all the way to February, it looks like. So January, December, like all the way to the beginning of December to the end of February is like 3 months.
Stop the bleeding of their player base.
The Deadeye release? Well, I think it's the ball with all the other stuff. So, again, I do think that we're going to keep doing this, by the way. Like, it's going to keep doing this all the way down. It's going to go all the way back down, in my opinion.
Recent expansions have added a lot of questing.
Bro, look at where we were before the ball, guys. Holy shit. Look where we were before the ball. Holy. and people were wondering why we were dooming about the game.
But they seem to have largely stopped the bleeding of their player base. Recent expansions have added a lot of questing and PvE content if you're someone who prefers that type of content. Holding on to the number 8 slot is Guild Wars 2, which released in
We're literally losing to Guild Wars 2, guys.
2012 on PC. Guild Wars had an explosive launch back in 2012 and has been one of the most popular MMOs on the market since. As MMOs go, Guild Wars does an excellent job of encouraging zone exploration and completion, and tried hard to break the mold of having players run for.
Okay, who was the moron that said, look at the Twitch category for Throne and Liberty? Of course it's got only a few amount of players. What's the Twitch category for Guild Wars 2, you dipshit? The top streamer has 95 viewers. They're beating us in average players, dumbass.
From one yellow exclamation point to the next, and it largely succeeded in these efforts. If you try it out, you'll see what I mean. It's a very unique questing experience. I highly recommend it. Guild Wars 2 features a very generous free trial. The first 80 levels are free, and
so you're following Asian Bunny. Shut the
the game does not feature
God damn it. This is why I don't show you guys my Twitch
sub, not even one of those quote-unquote optional subs. So when it says you can play it for free, it means it. After the first 80 levels, there is a lot of great content to be had in the expansions. However, these will need to be purchased, and these expansions definitely house the best content.
Is this surprising to you guys? Honestly, I'm the Lich King of the Gooners.
In the game. Guild Wars 2 mounts are better and more fun than mounts in any other game, but its lack of a rigid trinity of tank, healer, and DPS have definitely hurt the mass appeal of the game. One of the most memorable parts of Guild Wars 2 is its world events, where upwards of 100 players group up to take down dragons the size of skyscrapers. These fights,
dude, this shit. I'm gonna finish my Guild Wars 2 playthrough next.
Are truly a sight to behold, and it's really cool to see that many people in the community all get together to take these things down. How's Guild Wars trending? It seems to have seen a peak with its End of Dragons expansion in 2022 that its population has been tapering off from since.
100% doing it. After Monster Hunter Wilds is over and my arc for that is over, we're doing Guild Wars 2.
Guild Wars 3 was mentioned in a shareholder meeting, and it's very possible the developers have started work on it. Next,
started work. Guild Wars 3 is almost done, as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure they're almost done with development for Guild Wars 3. And by the way, Guild Wars 3, assuming it's just a better version of 2, it's just going to blow shit out of the water. It should blow shit out of the water. It's nowhere near done. You say that, but they would never have mentioned it at a development meeting. Yeah, it got leaked at the development meeting, but they never would have mentioned it if it was in the early development. There's no way. Yeah, they would never even bring it up.
Up, climbing 5 spots on this list is Wizard 101, moving from number 12 to number 7. This is another kid's.
Who? We're losing to this? What?
MMO that was a gateway into the MMO scene.
PC, PlayStation, and Xbox?
For many children around 2008 when it launched. It's still going strong today and still getting new updates regularly. The game lists.
I love how the Throne and Liberty community, the BDO communities, like, bro, they're always at each other's throats, dude. But both of us are looking at this like, bro, we suck. Bro, what the
itself as free to play, but veterans of the game will tell you that it's more honest to call it free to
to
try, as you'll need to sub in order to access all of the game's best and most relevant content. It's definitely a unique entry, featuring a card collecting style of combat. It also includes your more usual MMO staples like housing and fishing. And despite its humble beginnings, it's still here, comfortably holding down.
The houses are fire hydrants. We're losing to fire hydrants with dog bones on them. God, I fucking hate it. That's not true. I love America.
The number 7th spot, 16 years after its release. Next up, we have New World, who is one of the most improved MMOs.
Or we're losing to this. This is even worse than the Child's game that we just saw. How do we have lower average players than New World? By the way, the expansion came out months ago. How do we have lower average players than New World. It's Google Trend. Doesn't matter. The expansion came out months ago. +9.
MMOs on this list.
I just don't know. Is this even legit, though? He does bring up a good point. Like, here's the deal. Okay, right, 16. Let's just look at Steam. Okay, because this is the only real metrics we've got. 16, 15, and 20. Okay, what is New World at? What is New World at? Dude, are any of these numbers real? How is this possible? What is happening? What the hell? Like, this is low. I will say, even for Lost Ark is never below BDO on Steam charts. It isn't, right? And it's getting close. It's still technically above us, but it's close. Like, look at this dip. Holy shit. That's low. But, like, what is this, dude? Like, what are we, like, how trustworthy are these numbers? Now I'm starting to question everything.
Seeing it's
I don't play BDO from Steam. You misunderstand. I've already explained that. Steam has its own client as well. I mean, BDO has its own client as well, so you have to include those players. About half and half. About half the people own it on Steam, half the people own it on the client at this point.
itself climb an impressive 9 places on this list
Based on
from
every
number
metric I've
15
ever run.
to number 6. Its PC population has only seen marginal growth, but the game is also available on consoles now, helping.
True. Actually true. Okay, so this helps me believe it a little bit more. That's actually very true. A Turnum released on console as well, and this would include. That's fair. That's also fair. That is true. Damn, bro. Console players be liking New World
to drive new players into the game. As far as
even still, I still question the other numbers.
MMOs go, New World is one of the most barely monetized ones out there, featuring very little in the way of things that could be considered pay to win. This game is buy to play with an optional battle pass. New World features a massive, seamless open world for you to explore, and that's where this game really shines. It shines when you're out exploring, questing, killing, and gathering all the things you stumble into along the way. Every tree, bush, or rock can be gathered to level up your crafting and gathering. New World features the trinity of tank, healer, and DPS and has some incredibly challenging dungeons and raids. New World always felt like a game that would be well suited on console, so I'm surprised it took this long. It looks like the developers
the combat can certainly be played on a controller.
sacrificed a lot of PC's player count to get there, but hopefully this gamble pays off for them in the long run and they're able to get them back. Next up, we have
honestly, give you the content. Honestly, all of the combat on New World could be played with a foot pedal.
Elder Scrolls Online, which has benefited from some other MMOs on this list falling a few.
How? There is no. How does every single name get worse? How in the is this possible? What is going on? What?
Few places. Moving up from number 7 to number 5. Elder Scrolls Online just announced it would no longer be following its annual chapter expansion model, instead opting for seasons. This is happening not long after this MMO moved away from its Q4 Zone DLC and Q3 dungeon packs. The developers say this is to facilitate the creation of more varied content, but it's definitely a surprising move. ESO features 12-player raids and 4-player dungeons, as well as a ton of single-player content for you to enjoy. There are 3 tiers of difficulty for those types of content, allowing players to push themselves farther and farther. It definitely leans toward the casual MMO player and stands out as one of the more story-driven MMO experiences out there. ESO is buy to play with an optional sub, so if you want, you can pick up the base game and get hundreds of hours of content out of it, and if you enjoy that,
based on what I've seen, I would still rather play Guild Wars. Guild Wars 2.
the subscription will unlock the other half of the game for you. Elder Scrolls Online features action combat, so if you're used to tab targeting MMOs, it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to this game's combat. If we look at the chart, ESO does seem to be having a difficult time stopping a pretty rough player base slide, which might have contributed to their decision to move away from their annual expansion model. Next up, falling 3 places from a brief stint at number 1 down to number 4 is Final Fantasy XIV. This is the
I think this is pretty much a fine place for Final Fantasy to sit, but what is beating Final Fantasy that isn't WoW? We have WoW and Classic WoW. What? RuneScape.
lowest I've seen Final Fantasy XIV since I started making this list 4 years ago.
I'll tell you, I hate RuneScape.
Attribute this fall to 2 things.
The day I have the biggest erection of my life is when I see Black Desert or even Throne of Liberty beat RuneScape on this list. God, I hate you. I bought a new 5090 so that I can play RuneScape with 15,365 FPS.
The first is a larger than normal fall off of players from Final Fantasy XIV's newest chapter, Dawntrail, and the second is the massive influx of players that the number 3 game on this list received. Final Fantasy XIV continues to be an example of what happens when you monetize your MMO fairly, as it continues to be massively successful.
This is another game I'm considering a full playthrough for.
Fantasy XIV is a fantasy MMORPG.
Never really played it.
That places a focus on the story. The single
I got to like level 15 or 20.
player story content comes first, and every piece of content that follows it is built in service to that.
And to be clear, I was enjoying myself. I just had to go back to making content.
And the dungeons are unlocked as part of the story. The trials are unlocked by and woven into the story. Some of the most memorable cutscenes in the game are delivered in the middle of a trial while you're fighting for your life. It also features 22 different classes and the trinity of tank, healer, and DPS. Final Fantasy XIV has a best-in-class free trial, now allowing you to play the first 70 levels and the first 2 expansions for completely free.
So the only thing keeping me from like diving in on Final Fantasy is the fact that people keep telling me that it's like a 120-hour story before I actually get to play the game and get to the good part. And I'm like, and I thought BDO's main quest line was long. You know, 120 hours of questing before you can play the game? Again, and we complain in BDO. Dude, you could put the main story, every main story from BDO, and all of the early questing and the Magnus and everything else you got to do, plus the journal logs, and it would still not even touch 200 or like the 120 hours.
That you'll have to buy the game and pay the mandatory sub. Thanks to this mandatory.
The good part is you can lull the end game is dog shit outside of raids. Oh, really? Well, again, you don't want to skip the story. I think the story is the experience of the game, right? Like, I feel like if I pay to skip the story, it's cooked.
Sub, however, the game is free of pay to win. It's free of loot crates.
Catastrophe cheer Dex 100. FF you're entertained. BNDO you spam R.
Okay, that's right. Wait, is it an entertaining 120 hours in the storyline, or does it suck for like 90 hours and then it's good for like 30? Is it actually good the whole time, or is it like dick for like 100 hours? You're sucking dick for like 100 hours, and then for 20 hours you get to some, you know. It sucks for 60 hours. Okay, so just like BDO.
And it has hundreds of cosmetics and mounts that you can earn.
It's just that BDO never has a turning point where it gets any better.
In-game by playing the game. If we look at the charts, you can see a normal drop in interest since it launched its expansion, coupled with the dramatic increase in interest in the next game on this list. Bouncing back from its previous low on this list is WoW Classic.
Holy shit, WoW Classic up by 7. And this is why this is kind of misrepresented. I want to be clear. The reason this is up by 7 is because OnlyFans is going on. Unironically, literally soda padding these stats because everyone is watching and Googling hardcore classic WoW shit. You know, whether it be, I mean, shit, I'm sure that you guys have all seen it too, right? The pirate software drama, Yamato, Tyler 1, all of that stuff, it comes up on your feeds. So this is obviously massively inflated.
Which is
just... I will say these numbers are definitely a little off. No question. So it's tough to say with any degree of accuracy, but this is at least shows interest in the game. So it's not completely wrong, but it does show where everybody's interest in the MMO community actually is.
Jumped from number 10 on this list to an
And if this is the case, the next time he makes this, if he made this video a month from now, Throne and Liberty is like number 6. Like, because Wilds of Talandre is going to...
impressive number 3. And this all thanks to 2 things. 1 is the launch of Fresh Classic, and 2, OnlyFangs. OnlyFangs is
Okay, at least he mentioned it.
the best thing to happen to WoW since Bobby Kotick was fired by Microsoft. OnlyFangs is a guild that consists of many of the biggest streamers on Twitch and has given these new servers more attention than any advertising campaign.
Yeah, okay, so I just want to be clear. I'm going to start streaming. I think I've decided I'm going to stream on YouTube, not co-stream. I'm going to stream on YouTube. And when I stream on YouTube, it's going to be games that, like the other games, Naraka Blade Point, Hardcore Classic WoW for OnlyFangs. What is that? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and like new games, you know, that kind of thing. And we'll see how that kind of goes. That way I don't have to worry about my viewership or anything. It'll just be a chill thing, where I stream on my days off or whenever I don't want to stream necessarily on the main channel. Like so you guys will get more content, but I'll start streaming on YouTube instead. It won't be on Twitch all the time. You'll still get like 40 to 50 hours of me on Twitch a week, but I'll put more in on YouTube.
Could ask for. Back in March of 2017, Blizzard finally caved and announced that they would be making World of Warcraft Classic. World of Warcraft
Yeah, I'll announce it in Discord and to the YouTube.
Classic launched to massive appeal, much to the surprise of Blizzard, who had thought there was no way players would want a Classic server.
Please name it Bald Blue 2. You realize my YouTube channel already has a name. You absolute moron. What are we, Ravens? Come on.
Considering it's sitting at the number 3 most played MMO right now, it's obvious they couldn't have been more wrong. It's impressive that a spin-off version of a 2-decade-old MMO sits this high on the list. But this isn't the...
Okay, the reason WoW Classic sits this high on the list is because they ruined World of Warcraft. If they had not ruined... This shows you how many WoW players actually are playing... Like, the reason they love WoW, is not because they love retail, it's because they love Classic. There's a massive portion of the World of Warcraft community that just likes Classic. Now, to be clear, there's still a massive amount of people that like retail. That's why it usually sits as number 1 on the list. Obviously, it's still like the most popular MMO. However, it shows you how much of their player base they have alienated that want to go back to Classic because it was better then, right? Like, to be clear, we don't see this in BDO as much. Like, how many people do you see really advocating for BDO Classic, right? They haven't alienated their viewership to the point that people just want to go back to, like, get rid of all the quality of life changes. Just give us the bare bones game again. You know what I mean? They have not ruined their game that much yet. But Blizzard has. That a lot of people are willing to take that step back. You know what I mean?
The only time you'll see that happen today. World of Warcraft...
Because old BDO is dog shit and so is current BDO. Yes, but it's less dog shit now.
Classic was a return to WoW before its controversial additions like excessive cash shop items and the WoW token. World of Warcraft Classic is the classic MMO experience through and through, slower combat and a strict adherence to the trinity of tank, healer, and DPS. People actually have to use crowd control and fear aggroing too many mobs. It's going to be interesting to see how long this nostalgia-fueled trip through Classic WoW can maintain its steam, and how many seasons it will be able to continue to get players to return for. Will we someday see Classic WoW take the route of old school RuneScape and carve its entirely own path, completely for...
I'm considering playing WoW retail.
Working from...
I really enjoy my time with in hardcore WoW. I'm just deathly afraid of dying, and I'd like to play a version of the game where I can die and like explore the game and like really test limits on stuff, and maybe PvP a little too. Maybe I just should do like normal Classic, but I don't know. I'm really enjoying it.
Retail WoW, I think this is the only way we'll see it hold players' attention for longer periods of time than it's currently able to. However, WoW Classic sitting here at number 3 is further proof that there's a strong appetite for the classic MMO experience, untainted by WoW tokens, microtransactions, and loot crates. Hopefully,
how in the f does Blizzard have better cinematics from 10 years ago than most game companies can, like 20 years ago? Their cinematics were still better than than a lot of companies can produce today. The only company that I think has genuinely better cinematics than Blizzard is Riot. Like, I just don't understand. The StarCraft 2 cinematics were insane. Like,
one of those upcoming MMOs that's being developed right now has the balls to answer the call. Next up, moving up 1 spot to number 2 is old school RuneScape.
Stop playing game. You have a 5090 in your computer. You just graduated with your master's degree in college. You're no longer living with your parents. You're not playing on a toaster anymore. There are better games everywhere. Please stop playing this game. Like, for the love of God, guys, look at it. There are so many better games. Stop playing this game.
Once again, climbing up this list as if it's completely
It's such ass. How are you supposed to goon to that character?
unaware that MMOs are supposed to become less popular
Also, Android, iOS. Oh my god.
with age. You can play this
You can play this game on your phone. Before anyone goes into my comment section and says, haha, throwing liberty, haha, throwing liberty's love video. You, man, we're all losing to a mobile game. And to be clear, if they took the mobile users away,
This
we
game
would
is so
still
old
be
now,
losing.
we can play it on phone without lag and without any optimization.
We would still be losing. One of Liberty and BDO, still losing. Even if you take away Mac, Android, and iOS. Cooked!
this on any computer less than 20 years old and your phone. The system requirements are so low that this is probably the most accessible MMO on this list, and I think it owes a lot of its success to that. On top
Because it was made in the 1800s.
of that, Old School RuneScape is a game run by the players, with each significant change voted on by the player base. Old School RuneScape launched as a result of the community not loving some of the changes that were made to the game. Retail
Again, Old School RuneScape is a perfect example of, again, the RuneScape developers ruined their game, so now everybody plays the old school version. It's exactly what I was saying with WoW. When you get to a point where enough of your players are pissed off, they're saying, "F you, we want to play the old version." You know what I mean? That's as much as I hate it, that's exactly what happened to them too. It has not happened in BDO yet because Pearl Abyss has not completely ruined BDO yet. Have they alienated a lot of PvPers? Of course they have. But that's not that big of a fucking deal.
Catastrophe Cheer
within the
Dex 100. My
greater
Windows
scheme.
95 machine still has this installed.
That was hurtful. Keep that kind of shit to yourself. I'm trying to make a point here. God, that was insulting. In Windows 95.
RuneScape added WoW-like abilities and a massively pay-to-win cash
My friends used to play this on dial-up. Oh god, Kyle used to ask his mom to get off the phone so that he could play RuneScape.
shop, and so the community begged the developers for the creation of Old School RuneScape. Jagex finally caved and agreed to create the servers that were based on the 2007 version of the game. Old School RuneScape is unique because it does not have the player follow a linear storyline, but instead has the player choose their own path through the game. Players can choose to kill monsters, go off questing, or level up one of their many different
Look how
skills. Old School
disgusting.
RuneScape
This
is a
is
make the numbers
so-
go up game. You skill up, you level up your crafting, your sword wielding.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you just play BDO if you want to see the number go up and grind infinitely? The women are so much hotter, the graphics are so much better, the systems are better, everything's better. I don't understand.
You're fishing, anything you can think of. You can level it up, and a lot of people enjoy doing this. RuneScape is a very sandboxy MMO that allows for a lot of AFK skilling, and thanks to its slow pace and incredibly low computer requirements, it's a very accessible game. It's got some pretty involved quests that would be near impossible to figure out without the help of some add-ons and guides, but it's as old school as it gets, with a very clunky combat system and user interface. It'll take some patience and getting used to if you're going to be trying this one out for the first time. By the numbers, Old School RuneScape has moved up to the number 2 slot and is definitely giving the number 1 MMO a run for its money.
This is so pathetic. Our genre is cooked, dude. Our genre is so cooked. It's like the worse graphics you have, the higher ranked your MMO is.
Pretty impressive for being born from a browser game that
Everything
was
is better
released
in
in
BDO, take it from me. RSN in my name stands for RuneScape name.
2001. And finally, we have World of Warcraft and its War Within expansion regaining the #1 spot. Public opinion of World of Warcraft has massively improved since the self-inflicted wound that was Shadowlands. With the last 2 expansions going over well, World of Warcraft is now 5 years into a bout of player growth, which is remarkable for a 2-decade-old MMO. World of Warcraft is a massive, seamless MMO that still handles scale better than any other MMO I've played. You can see locations multiple zones away and get on your mount and fly to them. It also makes you feel tiny when you walk up to huge structures. These are things that a lot of other MMOs created well after World of Warcraft are still unable to deliver on, thanks to them being broken down into the smaller zones with rampant load screens in between. WoW still looks great for 2 reasons. One is thanks to an art style that's
It really does. Like, the art style of this game has aged so well. They got so lucky with
aged incredibly well over the years. But perhaps more importantly, the other is that it's had
paid video. You should have paid for a education. You spelled paid wrong. Jesus Christ.
numerous engine overhauls that have kept it feeling somewhat modern despite being 2 decades old. WoW features the trinity of tank, healer, and DPS, and has 13 unique classes, each with multiple different specs. There is loads of single player content for you to level your way up in, as well as dungeons and raids. WoW's dungeons and raids are among the best out there, but definitely be prepared to devote a good chunk of time to them. So what does interest in WoW look like right now? You can see on this graph right now how it absolutely dwarfed the competition in its prime. Looking at its popularity from 2004 to 2012, nothing else even came close. And
well, there wasn't very many other MMOs out of the time.
while it's a long way from its peak, if we zoom in on the last 5 years, we can see that it started to grow again. But it's worth noting, this MMO isn't the untouchable titan that it once was, with old school RuneScape and Final Fantasy XIV right on its heels.
Fuck, dude, is our genre just dead? I'm on the cope that as players age, they like MMOs more. You know what I mean? I feel like as players age, they like MMOs more. It doesn't appeal to a young audience anymore. And because gaming has gotten massive, right? Most gamers are playing like Fortnite, right? Or like the younger, well, I guess Call of Duty, not so much anymore, but like the younger games, you know what I mean? But like, I think that the MMO genre appeals to older gamers. Like, dude, tell me that when you're all in a nursing home in like 40 years, 30 years, some of us 10 years. But you know what? In like 30 years, when we're all, or 40 years, we're all going to a nursing home, can't take care of ourselves anymore. Do you know what I want to be playing? BDO, man. I want to be playing some MMO shit. Like, I want to get on Discord with the homies, okay? Until I am literally shitting myself. And then when I'm shitting myself, I want to have somebody else clean it up while I continue playing.
And even passing it from time to time. We have seen some massive upsets to start 2025, with some popular MMOs clawing their way to the top, while others have slid their way to the bottom. In the last 6 months, we've seen multiple MMOs drop absolutely stunning expansions, making it a good time to be a fan of these games. Did any of the results on this list surprise you? Which MMOs do you think are going to move up next time or down? In the last video, I asked where you guys thought Throne and Liberty would land. Are you surprised it took the 12th spot? Let me know down in the comments below. Be sure to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed it, as I'll continue to cover MMOs like the degenerate MMO player I am. As always, massive shout out and massive thank you to my YouTube members. To become a member, click the join button down below for access to a private Discord channel and behind the scenes footage and more. Massive shout out to some of the newest members of the community: Ashley Mara, Stuff, and Don Dennison.
Nice. Dude, I swear to God, everybody always dick sucks old school RuneScape. I just don't understand how people play it, dude, straight up. Other than maybe the nostalgia of playing it, I just don't get it. I really just don't understand. Honestly, this just shows you how we haven't had the next big MMO in over a decade. True. I played over 1,000 hours of ESO. My God, bro. Is there anyone commenting on RuneScape at all? I hate these people. I hate them. I just don't understand. I don't get it. These people are just ill. God, I hate them. It's literally insane, dude.